This roasted butternut squash salad is perfect for celebrating the fall season. It's loaded with kale, creamy feta cheese, crisp apple, and crunchy walnuts with the best maple dressing. Begin by preheating your oven to 425 degrees Fahrenheit. Meanwhile, let's prepare our butternut squash. For easier and safer slicing, cut the butternut squash in half lengthwise. Then use a small spoon to scoop out the seeds. Now we need to peel the squash, and we'll use a little magic this time. Lay the squash half cut side down on the cutting board for stability and slice the long side from the bulb side, otherwise called the neck and the bulb sides. Slice lengthwise into strips, then dice into cubes. Repeat the process with the rest of your squash until you're left with a pile of butternut squash this size. Transfer them to a mixing bowl. Drizzle with 1 tablespoon of olive oil, 1 tablespoon of maple syrup, half a teaspoon of sea salt, and a 1/4 teaspoon of black pepper, and toss to combine. Line a large baking sheet with parchment paper and spread your butternut squash out onto the prepared baking sheet. Bake at 425 degrees Fahrenheit for 30 minutes. Now let's prepare the most delicious maple dressing. In a small bowl or mason jar, combine a 1/3 cup of extra virgin olive oil, 3 tablespoons of apple cider vinegar, 1 tablespoon of Dijon mustard and 1 pressed garlic clove, 1 tablespoon of maple syrup, and of course a little extra, half a teaspoon of salt, and a pinch of freshly ground black pepper. Close the mason jar with the lid and shake well until combined. Next, we're going to deseed this pomegranate. And the easiest way I find it is to score about a 1/4 inch deep into the pomegranate around the top of the fruit. Do not cut all the way into the fruit. You really just need to cut through the red exterior to where it begins to turn white. Holding the fruit, you might notice that there are 5 to 6 gentle ridges around its surface. Use your knife to make thin slits along those ridges. After you make the cuts, use your hands to peel the fruit open and gently divide it into segments. Remove your seeds and you're done. Now take an apple, and you can use any apple you like. Slice your apple in thin strips and arrange them in sets of 3. Set them aside. We will come back to it in just a minute. At this point, your butternut squash is baked and barely warm. Set it aside. We will proceed with assembling the salad. I have rinsed and prepared in advance roughly 6 ounces or 10 cups of kale leaves. Make sure the stems are removed and the kale is chopped in bite-sized thin strips. Don't forget to shake the dressing before adding it to the salad, since the dressing can separate as it sits. Drizzle your dressing all over your kale and make sure to use only 1/3 of it. Now use 2 forks to toss for a minute until your kale is slightly softened, evenly coated in the dressing, and reduced by about 1/4 in volume. Now scatter roasted and cooled butternut squash over the kale, then add on remaining toppings. For a nicer presentation, arrange the sliced apples in triplets. Just like that. Sprinkle a 1/4 cup of cranberries, a 1/4 cup of toasted and cooled walnuts, half a cup of crumbled feta cheese, and just to add some festivity to our salad, sprinkle with a 1/4 cup of pomegranate seeds. Drizzle the top with the remaining 1/4 of the dressing and this colorful, beautiful fall screaming salad is ready to be enjoyed. This salad doesn't need to be tossed because we already coated the kale in the delicious sweet maple dressing. It is seriously too pretty to eat, but oh my god, once you have a bite, it's impossible to forget it. The combination of the crisp apples, crunchy toasted walnuts, creamy feta, sweet butternut squash. It is a meal in itself. So satisfying, and again, the presentation is so beautiful. Enjoy, and stay tuned for the next episode.